Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to round 2 of the Race Department 2015 VWSR Clio Cup Championship on R-Factor 2. The second round of the championship is at Poznań, located in Poland. A fantastic circuit that has got a great array of corners, such as turn 1, a big sweeping right-hander which will be challenging for both the drivers and the tyres. Like Croft, Poznań has a clockwise configuration, and it consists of 14 turns and 2 long straights. Also, each lap has a length of 4 kilometers, and we'll have 2 races tonight. One is 15 minutes long, the other is 25 minutes long, with a reverse top 10 from race 1. Also, instead of having a 20-minute qualifying session, we will only have 10 minutes, so hopefully it is a more enjoyable broadcast tonight. So without further ado, let's introduce my co-commentator for this evening. Last time out at Croft, it was really enjoyable, and hopefully it will be the same here at Poznań. As always, it's Xavier de Carvajal. So how are you today, Xavier?
Well, thanks to yourself, James, and I'm looking forward to another brilliant round of racing, just as we had in the first race. In the first round. Hopefully, we see something a little bit cleaner than we did in race 2 last round, but and more of what we saw in race 1, where it was great, action-packed, and very close.
Indeed, and I really did enjoy Croft at round 1, and also we've got to remember last time out, Simon Christopher for MC Racing took victory in race 1, and Christian Michel for MC Racing took victory in race 2, so they are definitely 2 drivers to watch out for this evening, and hopefully it is a good race. But I guess we can't count out Teddy Bush or Frederick Schornstein. Both had good races at Croft, so perhaps they can do well here as well. And currently we are in the qualifying session, and definitely Christian Michel has been looking really quick here at Poznań, and I've been in the practice session. He was 6/10 quicker than anybody else, so definitely a lot of speed from him and MC Racing at the moment.
These boys are definitely taking it to the competition. Christian Michel, as you said, with 6/10 over the next best guy. And 6/10 in these cars is exceptionally difficult to find. These cars are not easy to drive fast, let alone pull 6/10 of a second on your competitors. Just shows you why he is the reigning champion, though.
Yeah, indeed it does. And I just want to go on board with Teddy Bush. He's going round turn 3 at the moment. Clips the apex nicely. And now heading towards turn 4. Breaks down into 3rd gear. The back end stepping out on him. But now into turn 5. Clip the apex. And now wants to carry quite a bit of speed up towards turn 6. And he's going to break down into 2nd gear, using the engine to slow that car down. And now going round into turn 7. The track at Poznań looking really good on R-Factor 2, especially after that update. And now going around turn 8, a lot of understeer on Teddy Bush's free racing car. Now going around turn 9 flat out, and then he's going to brake for turn 10, and while the back end wanting to step out, quite a lot of torque steer. And now going around turn 11, then turn 12, and then 13, a great section of the track, and puts the power down nice and early, going towards the final corner, which is turn 14. And Teddy Bush currently 1/10 quicker than Willis at the moment. So going around the final corner, what time will this be for Teddy Bush in his free racing car? A 1:46.4, 2/10 quicker than Skywheels. A great lap from him.
Indeed it was, and times are looking just as close as they were last time out. The guys from 3rd to 6th, or sorry, to 7th, are not necessarily as fast as those who are in 1st and 2nd. I see there's a couple of DQs there. I'm not too sure what's happened there. It looks like they've run over their allocated laps. In fact, it's happening to quite a few of these guys, so perhaps there's an issue on the server or something. But from 1st to 7th, things are looking fine. And Jimmy Hughes has just gone across the line with a 47.1, so not very fast from an ex-champion here. He does enjoy the circuit. He did talk to me before the race, saying that he does enjoy the circuit. Hasn't practiced as much as he'd liked. Of course, he's got his real racing to worry about, and it's taking up a lot of his time. We'll see. We'll see what happened with those 3 DQs. It is rather interesting.
I think it might be because the drivers have thought that they could get another lap in, and then they've gone and into the pits, and that's counted as a lap, and that's why they've got DQ. That's the only explanation that I can think of. But now let's go on board with Simon Christman. He has been looking increasingly fast in the practice session, but what can he do? Just going around turn 5 now, and gets quite a lot of speed, hitting around 168 kilometers an hour going into turn 6. That setup on that car looks really good, and Simon Christman doing a great job. Now around turn 7 and turn 8. What time will this be in the second sector? It's only slightly faster than Teddy Bush, 29 thousandths of a second, so not close margins here at all. In 4th gear, brakes just before the corner, and wow, he's gone right off the track there. It's definitely cost him quite a lot of time. So has that allowed Teddy Bush to possibly get pole position here? Because Simon Christman was looking very fast, but now we're going under the bridge. Hopefully we can get a good camera shot of Simon Christman going under there, because he really does look fantastic here at Poznań, going around the final corner. What time will this be for Simon Christman? Running wide again. Not a great lap, quite scruffy, but still 3/10 quicker. What a lap from Simon Christman. But look, I believe Christian Michel, his teammate, has gone into 1st place. So great pace from MC Racing at the moment. So let's go on board with Frederick Schornstein. He's coming around the final corner. So where will this put him? Should be a fairly good lap from him. And he goes up into P3. So pretty good from him. But can't quite match the pace of the MC Racing cars at the moment. Stephen Andrew, I believe he has already set a lap time, if I'm correct. Yes, indeed he has. So I'd imagine he's going to go into the pits. But let's go on board with Manuel Cartazzolo, who is currently on a lap. And he's currently 1.4 seconds off Christian Michel, which shows what a great lap it was from him. But now going round into turn 13 and gets a good exit, doesn't run wide. Now going under the bridge and going towards the final corner. So where will this put Manuel for independent? And hopefully he can get himself amongst the top 10 perhaps. And where will this put Manuel Cartazzolo? Goes up into P12, so not a bad lap from him. And I believe that is everyone's qualifying session. So we will run down the grid in qualifying. So Christian Michel in 1st place for MC Racing, taking pole position with Simon Christman. He will line up on row 1 alongside him in 2nd place. Great effort from MC Racing. Frederick Schornstein will be on the 2nd row of the grid, followed by Teddy Bush. On the 3rd row of the grid, Sky Willis. Great effort from her. And then in 6th place is James Maskell. On the 4th row of the grid, Jimmy Hughes from Mad Cape Racing. He may be slightly disappointed with that. Alongside him is Stephen Andrew. And on the 5th row of the grid, in the top 10, is Phil Shilto for 9th place. And April Dillion in 10th place. And Sabia, going to go and round out the rest of the grid for us.
Yep, indeed. So, in 11th place, we've got Joel Fernandez with a 147.8. I think he's now 1.8 seconds off the leader. That just shows you how well Christian Michel has done there. Manuel Cartazzolo is now in 12th. Stefan Woodenberg in 13th. 14th is Rui Martins. 15th is Xavier Poirel. In 16th is Jonathan Menendez. 17th, Yuri Karsdorp. And in 18th is John Broadmeadow.
So definitely an exciting qualified session with Christian Michel topping the timesheet. So we do have a 10-minute warm-up session. I think it would be good to talk about the standings. What from race 1. So in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, Simon Christman is leading the way for MC Racing, currently on 43 points, followed by his teammate Christian Michel on 36. Frederick Schornstein in 3rd place, joined with Christian Michel in 3rd. Jimmy Hughes from Mad Cape Racing on 34 points. Tapi Reniero on 31 points. João Fernandez is on 26 points. Sky Willis is on 25 points. Manuel Carsolo is on 20 points. Ipio Dillon is on 18 points, and in 10th place is Xavier Poriel on 14 points. So definitely shows that MC Racing have got a lot of pace in their cars and are currently leading the way in the Constructors' Championship at the moment. So definitely they are doing a great effort. But let's see what they can do here at Poznań.
Of course, yeah, and you know what, coming into the season they were touted to be the dominant force after such a strong show last season from Christian Michel. Simon Kreisman has really stepped up his game as well, and I remember in the interviews from the last race he did say that he had been working slightly harder and in the off-season just to try and become as competitive as he has right now. So good to see that level of commitment from him, and I think out of everyone at the moment, no disrespect to anyone else, but these two look the most committed and the most hungry.
Yeah, indeed they do. So perhaps it will be a fight between both of the teammates MC Racing.
Well, that would be interesting indeed. Of course, last season, where these outfits were allowed 2 teams each, Mad Cape Racing team had 2 teams, and there was some great inter-team battling happening there between Miroslav Davidovich, Lars Bruchman, Jimmy Hughes, who came second, and Haniel Sabti as well. And in the mix there was Christian Michel and Simon Kreisman. Now, that inter-team battle was exceptionally exciting, and it lasted the entire season. Just amazing stuff to see teammates going at it, not necessarily being dirty with each other, but still roughing each other up and going for the overall win. You know, despite it's your teammates, despite you're friends with a person, you know, you just want the overall glory. And I know that Christian Michel and Simon Kreisman have a very competitive nature between themselves. So I wouldn't put it past them battling each other this season in the championship, much like we saw last season with Mad Cape.
Indeed, so we currently have 6 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, and hopefully there is a good battle between both Christman and his teammate Christian Michel. But I think it'd be interesting to see what sort of lap times it will be with the heavier fuel loads. But I think we may as well talk about another thing with this race department Clio Cup series, and one of the rules is the yellow zone, which is around the whole of the track here at Poznań. Instead, where at Croft it was only active towards turn 3 on the first lap, but it is still only active on the first lap here at Poznań, but it's around the whole track, so therefore they'll be quite cautious overtaking. If there are any incidents in the yellow zone, there will be incidents, so hopefully we don't have any incidents at the start or indeed in both races. And there are quite a lot of points to play for in this championship, especially with first place getting 22 points and second place getting 20 points. So it's only a 2-point difference, but it can all come into play at the end of the season. It will depend who is the hungriest for the championship here at Race Department. Hopefully it is a good race, and I thoroughly enjoyed it at Croft. And Poznań is a similar circuit in many ways. It's got a similar number of corners, and also, as I said in the introduction, it is a clockwise configuration, so it isn't that too much different from Croft. So hopefully the drivers haven't had to change their setups too much. But I have driven around Poznań, and there are quite a few bumps, especially going round turn 3. And indeed breaking down into turn 4, there are quite a few bumps there, so perhaps we might see a couple of lockups throughout the race. But also tyre wear is going to be quite critical here, even though we only have a 15-minute session of a race, and then we have for race 2 we have 25 minutes. So definitely it'll be interesting to see how tyre wear plays a part, because there are sweeping corners, there are really tricky corners that really are dependent on grip and tyre wear. So it'll be interesting to see who can make the tyres last and keep some consistently good times.
Indeed it will, and tyre wear might be a factor here, more so than at Croft, since the nature of the circuit is it's really tight, and these corners are pretty, they tighten on you as you go around. And you know, sometimes people use too much lock, or they use too much steering input, and that completely wears the tires. So it'll be interesting to see who can drive this car well enough to not allow tyre wear to become a factor in their race. And we saw at Croft how quickly the tyres could drop off as well. Jimmy Hughes coming into the booth at the end of the race, saying that he was struggling for tyres almost immediately after his race had begun.
Yeah, indeed, and that's definitely something for the drivers to think about, and also to manage their tyres. And as you said about the steering lock, trying to not put too much input into the steering. But I think also, I think the tyre model in rFactor 2 is really good, one of the best in the simulator market, I guess, for racing games. But also we have to remember that the tyre model compared to rFactor 1 is immensely different. So if you're coming from rFactor 1 and driving on rFactor 2, you will really struggle with your tyres, because you can be a lot more aggressive in rFactor 1, but in rFactor 2 you have to be more consistent and take care of the tyres more. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see, as I said before, who's going to be able to look after their tyres the best. I think ultimately that will be the winner. But of course you got to look at Simon Christman, because he has had some really good pace, but can he translate that into the race? Indeed,
and you know what? Based off of his last results, and based off Christian Michel's results, remember Christian Michel had an unlucky outing in race 2 with some incidents. I think he would have definitely won. I mean, sorry, in race 1, I think he would have definitely have won both races in the previous round. And Simon Kreisman, you know, this time around, I think Christian Michel has the edge on him. Just based off the times in qualifying and some of the things I've seen him do in practice earlier on this week, he seems very consistent. And you know what? I think if I were to bet my money on someone to win a race today, it would be Christian Michel. And of course we've got the reverse grid for race 2, so we'll have to see how he navigates through the traffic. He didn't do particularly well in doing that in the first couple of laps last time out. He did win the race from the reverse grid, but I think he got lucky with a couple of incidents that had happened at the start, and a couple of incidents that happened later on in the race. So it'll be interesting to see what Christian can manage today. I think another person to look at is Frederick Schonstein. He did an exceptional job last time out, and got himself an amazing 4th place in the second race after some immense battling with Jimmy Hughes and Christian Michel, and I think in that battle was Teddy Busch as well. And Teddy, another guy who's just come into the series and just completely amazed us, pretty much, by with his pace and his racecraft. So I wonder to see these guys come in and do as well as they're doing. Yeah, indeed, and I thought so. I think because of the incidents that happened to Simon Christman, I believe, at Croft, if they hadn't had them incidents, MC Racing would be on an even bigger gap
to Tri Red Racing. So currently we may as well look at the Teams Championship, the Constructors Championship for this Clio Cup Race Department Series. So MC Racing are currently leading away on 79 points. Tri Red are currently on 43 with a gap of 36 points. RD Racing are on 36, Mad Cape Racing are on 34, RN are on 31, Free Racing are on 27, Durham Racing are on 21, Redshift Racing are on 13, Shillito Racing are on 2, and Andrew Racing are on 0. And in fact, we are now heading into the race, so we will only have 15 minutes and not a set laps what we had last time out at Croft. So once the drivers have gone to the grid, we will run down the grid of these great drivers, and hopefully we have some great racing here at Poznań. So the drivers have around 12 seconds to get to the grid from their pit boxes and click race in the control menu. So let's run down the grid as we now begin the formation start. So we will go from 1 to 18 here at Poznań. So Christian Michel in first place for MC Racing, followed by his teammate Simon Christman in second. Frederick Schornstein closest to MC Racing, doing a good job in third. Teddy Bush in fourth place. Sky Willis in fifth. James Maskell in sixth. Jimmy Hughes in seventh. Stephen Andrew in 18th place with a very nice livery, I have to say. Phil Shilistow in 9th place, and April Dillon is the top 10 for Poznań here in this race department Clio Cup Championship. And what a race it should be here. And Xavier, do you want to again round out the rest of the grid for us?
Indeed, I will do that. In 11th place, we've got João Fernandes, and 12th, Manuel Caratazzolo. Will be interesting to see how those two get ahead and to see if they can rustle up in the mid pack there. Hopefully we see some great battles all round. Stefan Woodenberg, a veteran of the series, in 13th. Rui Martins, another person who's a veteran. I mean, he was in the previous season and the season before that as well. Xavier Porel, one of the new guys, in 15th place there. Jonathan Menendez in 16th. Yuri Kazdorp in 17th. And rounding out the entire field is John Broadmeadow.
So an excellent lineup of drivers, and all wanting to have a good race. Hopefully we have no incidents in this race. Hopefully we have clean racing, and hopefully we don't see any DNS, because of course we don't want to see that, since all these drivers work really hard on their setups. But currently Christian Michel entering the final corner. He will take the first grid spot, and Joe Broadmeadow will take the last grid spot on the grid for independent racing. So while we wait for John Broadmeadow to go and take his grid spot, we will wait for the lights, and hopefully we don't see any engines overheating, waiting for the back of the field drivers coming to their grid spots. So we will have 15 minutes of racing here at Poznań for the Race Department 2015 Clio Cup Series. We are waiting for the lights here at Poznań. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3 lights, 4 lights. Lights out, and away we go here at Poznań. Lights go green, and João Fernandes has already gone up into 10th place. Sky Willis has gone up into 4th. Xavier Puriel has gone up into 14th. So pretty good start from Christian Michel. He's currently taking the lead into first place, followed by Simon Christman. Frederick Schornstein in 3rd place. Teddy Bush in 4th. James Maskell in 5th. Sky Willis in 6th. Jimmy Hughes in 7th. Stephen Andrew in 8th. April Dillon in 9th. And Philly Shilito in 10th place. So fairly clean at the moment. Couple of lockups
and there's a
going
massive
into
incident
turn
there.
4.
Sky Willis
Indeed
got
there
turned
is.
around there. And that seemed like Jimmy Hughes getting a little bit over-eager coming down into turn 3 there. They went 3 wide in that corner.
So exciting racing, but unfortunate for Sky Willis. Hopefully she can climb up the field and gain some good points for herself in this Drivers' Championship. But so far at the front of the field, from 4th place, they seem to be pulling away at the moment with a gap of 3.1 seconds is Teddy Bush from Jimmy Hughes. So fairly sizable gap that will give the front runners some breathing room, but Simon Christman has currently got an 8th, 10th gap to his teammates, so 13 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock as they now go onto the bridge.
I just want to say quickly that I have gone back to look at the replay there. It was not Jimmy Hughes who caused that incident. Unfortunately, Sky understeered into the back of James Maskell, should I say. And, well, as you know, contacting these cars can be lethal. James held it, Jimmy went through, and Sky unfortunately couldn't keep her car in check there.
Lucky for her. But let's have a look at Frederick Schulze. He was trying to go around the outside into turn 1, but that was perhaps too ambitious. But look at that. Frederick Schulze right on the back of Simon Christman. He's now going down in towards turn 3. And a big lockup from Christian Michel. But can Frederick Schulze do anything around the outside? No, he can't. He's still behind Simon Christman. But fairly close racing at the moment. He's right on the back of him, almost at the rear end of Simon Christman. But now they're heading towards turn 6. So can Frederick Schulze use the draft and go and take Simon Christman? But Christman holding his line nicely and keeping that position, so it looks like Frederick Schulze will have to wait another lap or towards the end of the lap to go and even challenge Simon Christman for a place, because I don't believe there are any more overtaking opportunities around this track unless he can do something going into turn 11, 12 and 13, but I don't think he can get it done unless he can get the cutback. But Simon Christman again doing some great defensive driving as they now head towards the last corner at Poznań, which is turn 14. He's right on the back. He's trying to have a look on the inside, but again Simon Christman doing some excellent defending. But who can get the power on? The best. Simon Christman has run wide. Is this the opportunity that Frederick Schulze wanted as they now power down into turn 1? Again Simon Christman placing his car well. Can Frederick Schulze go around the outside? But I think it's too much for his Clio car to ask, and the tyre wear. Ultimately this is going to affect his tyre wear, and this may come back to haunt him at the latter part of this race. But it's only 11 minutes long which is left to go. But he's now having a look down in towards turn 3, but can't get that move done. And
great battle between Jimmy Hughes and James Maskell going into turn 3 here. Some bumping, rubbing his racing here. And Hughes keeps the position, and Maskell all over the back of him for the first part of that sector. But Kreisman definitely helping his teammate out a lot there. I mean, Christian's gained a massive gap on the rest of the field there as a result of Kreisman and Freddie having their little battle.
Indeed, it is a 2-second gap between Michel and Kreisman at the moment. But Schornstein again right on the back. It's only 2/10 that separates them. But it's still very close racing as now go towards turns 11, 12 and 13. 10 minutes remaining of this first race. It has been exciting, but there's still plenty of racing that can happen in 10 minutes. So can Frederick Schornstein do anything going into this final corner? I don't think he can. I think he's just too far away and he doesn't have the grip from the clear. But now they're powering out of the final corner. Whoa, both drivers going off the track, or at least putting two wheels off the track onto the dirt. But now Kreisberg defending really well, but Schonstein can't get that move done unless he can try and get the cutback. But this is really heating up his tyres, trying to do this. But Christian Michel doing a good race to...
Oh, wow. Sorry, I have to cut you off there. There is an insane battle going on in the mid-pack there from 8th and back. Fortulento's leading a pack of, I think it's 4 or 5 cars there. And these guys are nose to tail, bumper to bumper throughout the entire lap. They've been doing this for, I think, the last 2 or 3 laps now. This is going to be a really, really interesting to watch.
James Mascal going on the inside, Xavier going on the inside in on Jimmy Hughes. So James Mascal for Duramon Racing has took 5th place. Jimmy Hughes
when Jimmy comes back.
Indeed he does. So Jimmy trying to go around the side, but I don't think he can get that move down. Mascal holding his line well and keeping 5th place. So good effort from him, but we'll keep on with this battle. I believe Manuel has got his headlights on. I'm not too sure what the time is on the server. It's 4:40 PM. So perhaps he does need his headlights to see. I'm not too sure, but if he wants them on, there's no there's no penalty, I should say, for doing so. But look, Jimmy Hughes is still right on the back, and I believe we had Teddy Bush go off on the exit of turn 13, so perhaps he just got 2 on the power too quickly. But Frederick Schonstein, let's have a look at this battle. Can Schonstein take Simon Christman going into turn 1? He's now on the inside. Is there going to be contact? I don't think there is. Oh, in fact, Kreisman goes off the track, and now Teddy Bush has gone up into 3rd place. Unfortunate for Kreisman. I think he just misjudged.
That's exceptionally unfortunate there.
His braking point, and indeed it is exceptionally unfortunate.
Sorry, I'm just watching this battle from the mid-pack, from 10th and down. These guys are going too wide, side by side. So 10th and 11th have just gone too wide, and 12th and 13th have gone too wide, and all of them are bumper to bumper at the same time throughout the entire lap. This is insane. Props to these guys for keeping it so clean and providing such entertaining racing. I mean, wow.
Indeed, Vudenberg is going on the inside of April Dillion, and now Sky Willis is going to try and take that position from Dillion, but I believe Dillion just got a better exit out of turn 5. But as you said, this is a really great battle from the midfield, all following Vudenberg in 10th place. And I believe we just had Broadmeadow and Joe Fernandez battling together, and indeed they are, and Joe Fernandez has gone up into 16th place, so good effort from him. But Christian Michel currently 3.5 seconds from Schonstein, so doing a really consistent and great effort from him. And the battle between Kreisman and Schonstein has pretty much ended because of Kreisman going off the track into turn 1. But now let's give in Schonstein some breathing room, and it's going to allow Schonstein to catch up on the championship.
I think there's some tyre wear coming into play now, because I see Jimmy Hughes dropped way off the back of James Maskell relative to where he was, and he's now got Stephen Andrew, Phil Schilito and Manuel Caratazzolo catching up to the back of him, and we know that he is pretty hard on his tyres, so hopefully he can hold on, or we'll see some great battling, just as we are with April Dillon, Sky Willis and Stefan Woodenberg. The two teammates really battling it out there.
Yeah, indeed they are, and Sky Willis has now got the inside line, and she has now got that move done, which has now moved her up into 11th place. So can she try and get Wienerberg and get 10th spot and increase the possible points that she could get in this race? And Manuel has just been passed by Phil Schilito. I think Manuel just misbraked himself.
Yeah, you ran very wide there. It's pretty awkward.
Yeah, and that did cost him quite a few positions. but the front of the field is quite spread out, and I believe Sky Willis and Wiedenberg are battling out at the moment, and Sky Willis right on the back of Wiedenberg going into turns 11 and 12 and 13, and April, Dylan and Wiedenberg has gone off the track. He's lost his front of his car. I think he just perhaps locked the rear brakes, and that's just sent him straight into the wall. Really unfortunate, but that's now allowed Sky Willis up into 10th.
Oh no, there was
place.
contact between himself and Sky Willis. But then something went really awkward and he kind of shot off into the wall. So I'm not sure what had happened there. Maybe he got a little bit of a fright from the contact or something, but that did not seem normal.
Perhaps it could have been lag.
Perhaps. It did seem slightly... or very, very, very slight lag, but I mean, because cars were going inside cars. But yeah, we don't know. We'll have to ask some questions after this race, it seems.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case, and get the driver's opinion. So make sure you stay after both races, and we will get interviews from all the drivers. But let's have a look at the gap between Michel and Chauncey. It is 4 seconds, so clearly Michel doing a great effort at the moment. But Jimmy Hughes is still right on the back of Maskell, but I don't think he can do anything at the moment. He's 6/10 off, and that's too much of a gap at the moment to try and overtake Maskell. But perhaps he can do something on the straight and try and use the slipstream, what you get from these Clio cars. But field is fairly spread out now. That's not too much action, but they are still really close, so perhaps something can happen and we can have a good battle between some drivers. And we currently have 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock for race 1, and we will have a reverse top 10 grid for race 2, so that gives drivers who haven't done so well in race 1 and allowed them to try and get some good points in race 2.
Oh, and there goes Caratazzolo up the inside of Fulciletto. Some slight contact there, but they are doing alright. Nothing too malicious. Things are very, very quiet at the moment on circuit. Trying to see if there are any other battles besides this one going on. Of course, Christian Michel leading by 4 seconds now over Frederick Schornstein. James Maskell, and Jimmy Hughes 0.7 apart. And Phil and Caratazzolo, the two closest cars on the track at the moment. The rest of the field is extremely spread out.
Indeed, P8, Stephen Andrew battling with Manuel. I think Andrew went off the track, if I'm correct. Perhaps Xavier can look at the replay.
He must have done, because he was ahead of these guys.
Yeah, indeed,
he
was.
He did indeed go off. Oh, there was contact between himself and Caratazzolo, which prompted him to fall behind there.
But let's have a look at Caratazzolo trying to go around the outside of Phil Shilito, and definitely quite a little bit of contact between both drivers, but that's allowed Shilito to keep 7th place. But can Manuel do anything going into turn 3, a difficult braking zone at Poznań because it does have bumps? And Jimmy Hughes has just gone up into P5. There's a really good battle going on between him and Maskell, and he's managed to get that move done. Great effort from Jimmy Hughes to get himself up into P5. And we're currently on the last lap of this race. The 15 minutes has passed, and Christian Michel will take victory here at Poznań for race 1. He will achieve a maximum of 22 points, and Stephen Andrew currently battling with Shilito. I just saw a movement of some drivers, but never mind that. Christian Michel coming around the second to last corner, going underneath the bridge. Here's that great camera shot. Hopefully we can see that on the broadcast. Coming around the final corner, Christian Michel for MC Racing takes victory here at the Race Department Clio Cup Championship. A great effort from him, and surely he will be delighted with that. Frederick Schornstein, another great drive from him to finish in second place. Teddy Bush in third, but look how close Simon Christenman got to him. And after that mistake, just couldn't gain any position.
Hughes and Maskell. Hughes has got by Maskell somehow. And he's just finished in 5th place.
Jimmy Hughes had already passed Maskell, going in turn 4 and 5, I believe, earlier on. But anyway, never mind.
Oh, I might have missed that one.
James Maskell finishes in 6th place, and as you've already said, Jimmy Hughes finishes in 5th, so great effort from him. Phil Shilito in 7th place, Stephen Andrew in 8th place, Manuel Cotsolo doing a good job in 9th place, and Sky Willis rounds out the top 10 for this race. So Sky Willis will start on pole position for race 2, so perhaps she can get some good points for her drivers and constructors championship. But definitely that was a good race. There wasn't too many overtakes that I would like, but there was still some good action, some close racing, and hopefully everyone watching the broadcast enjoyed it. But we are now going into a 10-minute warm session where the drivers will now have a break and prepare for race 2, which will be 25 minutes long, which will hopefully be some close, clean racing. So the drivers now just going into their garages, and they are congratulating Christian Michel on victory here for race 1. So some exciting racing, and we will wait for all the drivers to enter into the second warm session of this evening for the Race Department Clio Cup Championship. So, Zoe, do you have any thoughts on that race?
Indeed, as I predicted, Christian Michel took the spoils. He's now going to be all the way back in 10th position. Sky Willis is now on pole position for race 2. Jimmy Hughes, previous champion as well. Slightly disappointing for him, I'd say, in his own eyes. We had some great action between Cartazzolo and Andrew and Shilito. We had brilliant mid-pack action between April Dillon, her teammate Sky Willis, and Stefan Woodenberg for a while, which was amazing to see. And Freddie Schornstein coming in second with Teddy Bush in third. 2 new guys to the series. It's really, really good stuff.
I have to say, it's refreshing to see the midfield keeping it clean and having some good racing, compared to other leagues that do often have quite a few incidents in the middle part of the drivers. There tends to be quite a few incidents, but we are now going into the warm session, and hopefully we have an excellent race too. Also, for those people that are watching the broadcast, perhaps you can gain some free membership courtesy of Race Department. And Xavier, do you have the specific question that the viewers need to ask?
Indeed, the question will be the same as last week's question. Who is the reigning champion of the Virtual World Series by Renault Clio Cup? If you could answer in either the YouTube chat or the Race Department chat box, and we will choose from the non-premium members to win a free, should I say, 1-year premium membership status, which allows you to race in all the great series Race Department has to offer. And of course, tomorrow we see the Virtual Stock Car Championship in action for the first race of their latest season. And I can tell you now, that's going to be one that you would definitely not want to miss out on.
No, indeed, and there are great benefits from getting a premium membership here at Race Department. Hopefully, you can be the lucky one to gain that. And definitely having a premium membership with Race Department is definitely a lot better than having a standard one. But of course, you can find out all the information about gold memberships and how they will benefit your account on Race Department. Also, for anyone watching the broadcast, you'll want to use hashtag #AskTheCommentator or commentators, and we will get answering your questions. If you have anything you'd like to know about Race Department or indeed this series, and I guess any other races that are going on in Race Department at the moment. So hopefully it will be good racing here at Race Department and good racing for the second race of this Clio Cup Championship. And the drivers are currently in a warm-up session. The grid is sorted, so we will just wait for that timer to go down, and then we will begin 25 minutes of what should be some excellent racing. So while we are waiting for the drivers, or indeed for the session, for the warm-up session to end rather, So let's just go through the point system for this championship by race department. So for first place you'll get 22 points, second 20, third is 18, fourth is 16, fifth is 14, sixth is 13, seventh is 12, 8 is 11, 9 is 10, 10 is 9, 11 is 8, 12 is 7, 13 is 6, 14 is 5, 15 is 4, and then from 16 to 20 you get 2 points, and then from P21 to P24 you gain 1 point. But of course there's only 18 drivers here, so the maximum points that they could achieve here is 18 points if you finished is 2 points if you finished in 18th place. So definitely there are points to play for up and down the field, and so everyone does get points on the board, and it does go towards their drivers championship and where they finish in the division. But currently at the moment Jimmy Hughes for Mad Cape Racing is currently done a 1:47.190, so pretty good lap from him. Teddy Bush is only 62 thousandths of a second off him, followed by Xavier Poriel, who is 2.214 seconds off. So perhaps Xavier needs to find quite a bit of time to catch up to the front runners at the moment. Hopefully he can find some more time so he can have a good race in race 2. So currently there are 8.5 minutes left on this warm-up session, and not too much action going up at the moment, but Phil Shillito is currently on the track, so we may as well go on board with him. So we'll go on board with him and see what sort of lap he does, and I think after he has done his lap we will talk about strategy for race 2. But let's go on board with Phil Shilto, and now crosses the line to begin his lap. So now heading towards turn 1, brakes down into 5th gear, then 4th, and hugging the apex nicely, a bit hesitant on the throttle, and indeed he is running wide, so that did cost him quite a lot of time, so I'm sure he will learn from that. And now brake it down into 2nd gear, misses the apex. It's quite a lot of understeer on that Clio car. Of course, remember that these cars are only front wheel drive and not rear wheeled or 4-wheel drive, but currently only a 10th off Jimmy Hughes, so in fact that was pretty good first sector. And Frederick Schonstein has just entered the server. I believe he was disconnected. But now Phil Shillito braking down into 2nd gear, going around turn 6, now going towards turn 7, and then turns 8, hits the apex nicely. That was a good corner from Phil Shillito. He's only 1/10 and 85 thousandths off Jimmy Hughes, so good lap so far. So this is actually looking really good from Phil Shillito at the moment. Now going towards turns 11, 12 and 13, misses the apex slightly, trying to get on the power as best he can, and now heading under the bridge. As I've said before, a really good camera shot that this track provides with these cars going underneath the bridge. Now going around the final corner. So what sort of time can Phil Shilito set here at Poznań? So going across the line, indeed he goes 1/10 quicker than Jimmy Hughes. So clearly Jimmy Hughes lost 2/10 in the final sector on his lap. Is anyone else currently going fastest? Well, Sky Willis has gone on board with a lap of her, and she's now going down into turn 3 and breaks down into second gear. Gets quite a lot of the apex there now, and now that's meant she's ran wide. So now going towards turn 4, hugs the apex nicely, gets on the power nice as well. So now round turn 5, going towards turn 6, and she sees the rubber on the track, and that sort of gives the drivers a reference point of where to brake, but also looking at the brake boards does help as well. So now going around turn 7, does get quite a lot of the apex again, going around turn 8 and then turns 9 and 10, so obviously flat out through turns 9, and then going around turn 10 and whoa, clipped a lot of the anti-cut, and that sent the car onto 2 wheels. But great driving from Sky Willis at the moment. 2/10 or pretty much 3/10 off Phil Shilito at the moment. Now going underneath the bridge and going round the final corner, she will brake and lift off the throttle. Gets quite a lot of understeer again, so Sky Willis struggling with quite a bit of understeer at the moment and goes 4/10 slower, but that puts her up into 4th place. And I think we may as well talk about strategy here in race 2. As we saw in race 1, the drivers, especially Jimmy Hughes, was struggling with tyre wear. So are the drivers going to struggle even more with tyre wear in race 2? And will they have to pit, Xavier?
I doubt that they'll have to pit, but they will have to look after their tyres a little bit better than they did in race 1. I wouldn't be surprised if the field gets even more spread out by the end, since those mini battles that we saw in the first race will most definitely be killing the tyres. It's going to be slightly difficult to gauge right now, because you've got a lot of the fast guys at the back of the pack now, or sorry, in the mid pack now, due to the reverse grid, and a lot of the slower guys, no disrespect to them, but based off pure pace today, guys like Christian Michel, Simon Kreisman, there are no slouch today here at this track. They're going to be wanting to come up through the pack relatively quickly, and that's going to engage them into a bunch of these mini battles, which could affect their tyre wear a little bit, and also the tyre wear of the slower guys ahead as well. Strategy-wise, I'm not really sure, but I doubt they'll have to pit.
Okay, but we will see, and I do agree with you, Xavier. I don't think they will have to bit. But does that mean Sky Willis has got a great chance of winning this race? Because if she can look after her tyres, she hasn't got the dirty air, so she won't generate as much heat into her tyres. So she has actually got a very good chance of winning this race if the likes of Simon Christman and Frederick Schonstein, for example, heat up their tyres quite considerably. She can use fresh tyres to her advantage, and she just needs to keep hold of her tyres and set consistent fast lap times, which is obviously hard. I mean, these cars are quite hard to drive, you know, but they're one of the easier mods in rFactor 2, so I definitely recommend them if you're starting out in rFactor 2 to get a feel for the simulator. But Sky Willis has got a really good first sector and a really good second sector, but struggling in the final sector. I think that's mainly because she's taking way too much apex into turn 11. Let's see if she does that now. No, indeed she doesn't. She takes a more relaxed approach, I think it's fair to say, and not going two wheels over the anti-cut. But yeah, this is looking a lot more consistent and better laps. She's got into a groove for try red racing, so again under the bridge, and now going towards turn 14, and misses the apex, gets quite a bit of understeer, but not too bad. So what time will this be for Sky Willis? Jumps her up into first, indeed, first place by 6 thousandths of a second. So really close between her and Phil Shilito. So definitely showing that she has got some excellent pace in her tri-red racing car. Is anyone beating that?
Christian Michel's out there. I'm not sure if he's on a lap at the moment, but he's definitely out on circuit. Could be his outlap. I don't really see a timer.
I think he is. But currently, Yuri Kazdop is finishing a lap. I don't think he will be able to start another lap as the car goes into the pits. And that indeed is the checkered flag. And that puts him up into 4th place. So definitely, the drivers have got quite good pace here, especially Sky Willis, so perhaps she could do something with that pace going, well, starting in 1st place. But the drivers now heading to the race. They have 55 seconds to go to the grid, and as you can see, most of the drivers have gone to the grid already, so hopefully there is good racing here at the moment. And I believe Broadmeadow, I think let's have a look at him. It appears to me that he is in a random garage, at least on my screen.
I saw him go skyrocketing just now. I'm not quite sure what happened there. And oh, he's started without a front bumper. Is that just me, or does he?
No, that's actually in games. Perhaps someone should tell him that. Or
oh no, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, indeed.
It's back. It's back.
The
Cool.
joy of half-patch 2 bugs. Yeah, indeed. Hopefully, he doesn't have any damage from that. But with 5 seconds left, indeed, I'm pretty sure he's going to leave it quite late.
Ah, there we go.
Indeed, left it quite late to maximise the temperature he has in his tyres and to reduce the braking temperatures that he has. So Sky Willis, let's run down the grid. So Sky Willis, as I said, starting in 1st place with the reverse top 10 grid. She finished in 10th place in race 1, and on race 2 she's starting in 1st. Manuel Cotazzolo in 2nd, Stephen Andrew in 3rd, Phil Shilito in 4th, James Maskell in 5th, Jimmy Hughes in 6th, Simon Christman in 7th, Teddy Bush in 8th, Frederick Schornstein in 9th place, and Christian Michel rounds out the top 10 here. And as always, John will round out the rest of the grid for us.
Of course, let's do it. In 11th place, Yuri Kazdorp, and in 12th we've got April Dillon, the pole sitter for this race's teammate. Xavier Poirel is in 13th, Joao Fernandez in 14th, John Broadmeadow is in 15th, Rui Martins is in 16th, Jonathan Menendez in 17th, and rounding out the entire field is Stefan Woodenberg. Oh, I see Sky Willis has pulled a gap on the entire field. He's going to have to sit on the grid for quite a while then. Not too sure what that strategy's about.
I always think it's best to keep the pack quite close, because then you don't run the risk of damaging your engine, at least with Formula 1 cars, because you obviously have to drive to cool the engine, because obviously they'll overheat because they're not getting any cooling sat on the grid. But I don't think it'll be too much of an issue for her. But the driver's just going under the bridge now, and they will go and take their grid spot, and we are waiting. The last person that will be on the grid is Stefan Woodenberg, and he's quite away from Jonathan Menendez. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Hopefully it is, but apology if it isn't. But now waiting for Wittenberg, and we will begin racing here at Poznań. Sky was starting on first place, waiting for the lights. They should come on right now for 25 minutes of close
I think there's just a
racing.
few cars that have been out of place there, and
Indeed,
they're all
we
lined
have
up.
3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Lights out, and away we go here at Poznań. Sky Willis getting a fairly good start. Stephen Andrews managed to get himself up into second
Jimmy
place.
Hughes.
Indeed, he's up in. Oh, Jimmy Hughes has just gone off. And
Keep it
he's just going to go
together.
straight into the cars. That's a chain reaction. But Sky was currently leading the way in first place, followed by Stephen Andrew in second, Manuel Cozzolo in third, James Maskell in fourth, Simon Christman in fifth, right on the back of Maskell, Freddie Schornstein in sixth, Christian Michel in seventh, April Dillon in eighth, Yuri Kazadorp in ninth, and Xavier Poriel rounds out the top 10. And what an instant for Jamie Hughes. Really unfortunate for him. I believe he got tapped on the back left of his car, and that just sent him off the grass, and then it caused a chain reaction. But definitely close between all the drivers at the moment. I believe Jimmy Hughes is all the way down in 18th place. Freddie Schornstein and James Maskell are right side by side, but James Maskell's managed to keep that position. Definitely closer racing for race 2, but the drivers do have to maintain tyre wear. But still, Sky Willis leading the way at the moment. But we will carry on with the battle between James Maskell and Frederick Schornstein. Teddy Bush has just gone up into 15th place. I believe he was involved with the incident with Jimmy Hughes, and Jimmy Hughes is really far behind, but hopefully he can catch up. Simon Christman has just gone up into 3rd place. I believe, yes, he has. He's side by side with Cozzolo, but I believe Christman just got a better drive out of turn 13, and that's allowed him to go up into 3rd place. Sky Willis has just got a 1.3 second gap to Stephen Andrews, so definitely setting some good pace. Teddy Bush has gone up into 14th place, so good effort from him, recovering from the incident at the start. But definitely an exciting, hectic start. This is a really big battle between Stephen Andrew in second, all the way down to 7th place. But look, Freddie Schornstein's right on the back of Maskell. Can he do anything? Going down into turn 13, brakes late. Can he get that move done? I believe he can. He's side by side with Maskell. Maskell's just got a better drive out of turn 3, going into turn 4 now. And can Freddie Schornstein get that move done? Maskell's gone wide now. That's going to allow Michel to go past him, but Maskell's got the inside line, but I believe Michel's already got that move done. Freddie Schornstein going into turn 6, up into 5th place. And Kreisman has gone up into 3rd place, just overtaken. Now I believe Manuel Cozzolo, I believe that move was already done in fact, but Sky Willis has still got the lead from 1.4 seconds from Stephen Andrews. So definitely some really close racing by all the drivers here at the moment.
Indeed, some exciting stuff here on the first lap of this race, and quite a while to go still, so be interesting to see who's harder on the tyres during these early stages.
Sorry, Xavier. Kazdorp and Dillon have just had an incident going into turn 11, and that perhaps needs to be looked at from the stewards after the race. But whoa, what is going on? Manuel Cozzolo has gone up into 2nd place. I believe Freddie Schornstein and I believe it was Stephen Andrew that went off the track on the exit of turn 14. James Maskell's just gone up into 6th place. Look, they're really close, and Simon Christman is right on the back of Stephen Andrew, and he's just spun out. I believe Christman did tap Stephen Andrew, and now Stephen Andrew dropping down the order like a fly. But look at this close racing between Schornstein and Manuel Carter Zolo, and indeed there's more contact.
Oh,
Really,
that's not
quite
the way
a lot
around
of
another
contact now.
person.
Manuel Costello's gone out. Freddie Shaughnessy's just took him off. Wow, so many incidents going on in this race department. Clio Cup Championship, and Xavier Poriel has managed to get himself up into 6th place. A great effort from him, and he's managed to avoid all the incidents and doing a great job. But all this is allowing Sky Willis to create a great gap, preserve her tyres, and she's now got a 3.3 second gap from Christian Michel. I don't know what your thoughts are, Xavier, on that hectic start. We've already had 5 minutes, but it's definitely been a lot more exciting than what race 1 was.
Indeed, it has been exciting, but at the same time, there's been some fairly questionable moves by certain drivers, and I think that's going to have to be looked at by the stewards, and I can expect they'll have a long evening going through some incident reports there. As you say, in 5 minutes we've already had quite a few incidents, and I'm not too sure what goes on in the minds of some of these drivers heading into race 2. We saw it in the last race, in the last round as well, where in race 1 we had some brilliant clean racing, and in race 2 I think mixing up the slower guys with the faster guys, some of the lesser experienced guys with the more experienced guys, kind of makes things a little bit awkward for the drivers around the track, as you know, you're racing against guys who you don't know, and others who aren't quite as experienced with their racecraft, and so they brake earlier, and that catches some of the faster guys out, or the faster guys can find certain moves that the slower guys couldn't, and the slower guys perhaps turn in. Perhaps the slower guys have less spatial awareness. Yeah, but I think the stewards are going to have a busy evening after just those first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case, and Sam Chrisman just got past James Pascal going into turn 3, so great move from Chrisman, went on the inside and got that move done, so great job from him for MC Racing. I believe it's a 2-4 for MC Racing at the moment. The gap between Christian Michel and Sky Willis at the moment is 3.2 seconds. We've currently got 18 minutes and 10 seconds remaining of this race, and it's definitely been quite a few incidents, but at the same time it has been quite exciting. And indeed someone else is off. João Fernandez is off the circuit. He's into the pixelated trees, and that's sent his car upside down. It's reset him to the garage, and that is his race over. How unfortunate for him. So that is his race done, and really unfortunate for him, as I've said. But Stephen Andrew is right on the back of Ryu Martins, and I think he's just too far away though. But let's have a look at Phil Shilito. He's right on the back of Manuel Cartazola going into turn 1. But both drivers keeping it clean at the moment, and so far quite a lot of action going on at the moment. Let's go on board with Yuri Kazdorp. I don't think he can get anything done going into turn 3. No, he can't. But he is really close to Xavier Poriel. He is in fact holding these drivers up, but an excellent job from Xavier to go up into 7th place. Stephen Andrews just got past Rui Martins, and indeed it's quite close. No, indeed it isn't. I'm not too sure what's going on with my timing screen on, or indeed my plugin for rFactor 2. It's showing that these drivers are overtaken, but it's clearly not apparent. But never mind. But let's have a look at the battle between Kazdorp and his teammate Xavier Poriel, and for 7th and 8th, both teammates going side by side. Xavier's gone really wide, and now that's allowed Kazdorp up into 8th place, so Xavier's lost 2 positions in the space of half a lap, so unfortunate for him. But Teddy Bush, what a recovery from him. He's managed to get himself up into 7th place. Close racing here at Poznań, and definitely exciting. But look at the gap, what Sky Willis and Christian Michel, it was a couple of laps ago, it was 3.1 seconds. Now it's only 2.2, so Christian Michel definitely showing that he has got some good pace, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do on Skywest. Joe Fernandez has just left the server. Unfortunate for him, as I said before.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
sorry, I have to interrupt you there. Carotazzola, Fulciletto, and Xavier Porel all getting involved there, going into, I believe that was turn 1, and all leaning on each other. Oh, couldn't quite see what happened there, but it looked as though Carotazzola was leaning on Sciletto.
Yeah, and that's meant Xavier has gone down into P12, so it was all looking promising, but that's really unfortunate for him. But the drivers are actually quite close, but they just can't overtake. For example, let's have a look at Runeberg. He's currently 8 tenths ahead of Teddy Bush, but Teddy Bush just can't find the speed to go and overtake him. But we'll have to keep an eye on this battle, because this can definitely be something that could hot up. And in fact, it already is doing. And Runeberg goes wide, and now that's allowed Teddy Bush to be right on the back of Vudenberg, and quite a lot of understeer from both cars. But look at that, Teddy Bush right on the back. They need to be careful to avoid incidents. And look, Vudenberg's going off the track, and now it's allowed Teddy Bush to go up the inside. And Teddy Bush jumping on a mistake from Vudenberg, going into turn 13. Now they're both going into turn 14.
Vudenberg's had a brilliant race so far. Come all the way from 18th up into 7th place. So you can bet your money that he's going to be fighting hard to keep these places that he's just got himself up into.
Yeah, indeed. I definitely expect that from him as well. Perhaps he was looking in his mirrors to see where Teddy Bush is, and but he's just gone wide getting into turn 1. Is he struggling with tyre wear?
Oh, someone behind him.
And Phil
Sciletto, right?
Yeah, indeed. He's just gone off the track. I'm not too sure what happened to him, whether you can get a replay. Xavier. But Teddy Bush, that's now allowed him up into 6th place, and that's where I believe he will finish, because it is a 10.5 second gap between him and Masquel. So I think it'll be a good recovery from Teddy Bush if he finishes in 6th place. But still, Simon Crispin trying to get past Frederick Schornstein. The gap is 1.5 seconds, but he just can't get that move done. John Roadmeadow has gone up past Menendez, so great effort from him to get himself up into 14th. And the field is definitely quieting down quite a bit now, but Kazdorp is attacking Vudenberg, so perhaps Vudenberg is actually really struggling with tyre wear, and look at that, Vudenberg has massive understeer, and that's now allowed Kazdorp into 7th place. So and Kazdorp's just gone wide.
Whoa.
Going into turn 13, and all that hard work has just been undone, and that's handed the pace back to Vudenberg, but perhaps it hasn't, because Dillion is right on the side of Vudenberg, and hopefully there isn't any contact. No, there isn't, but look at Manuel Cartazzolo right on the back of this battle, but they're side by side going down the pit straight, and I believe Dillion may get this move done going into turn 1. Hopefully there isn't any contact, but good driving from both of them. Vudenberg's awareness was good, and Dillion's vision to go and get the pass was also very good. That's now put her up into 7th place. Phil Chilito has gone up into 11th, overtaking Poriel. They're both going side by side in towards turn 3. But can Xavier do anything? No, he can't. But this midfield battle, again, it's definitely showing that's where all the battles are. Not so much at the front, it just shows that the front guys are evenly matched, but the gap between Skywest and Christian Michel has definitely gone down quite a lot. It's now 1.1 seconds, and definitely exciting racing here at Poznań.
Oh.
And who's that? That's
Stefan Vudenberg's gone off into the wall.
Yeah, straight off into the wall. I was just flicking through the cars. Indeed. It was having such a promising race, and it's all just gone to pieces. I'm not too sure what happened. I was just flicking through the order. Perhaps you can give us some light on that incident, David. And I believe it's got quite a lot of damage Sorry,
Whoa,
Xavier, go on.
I don't know what he is doing there. He's decided to cut half the circuit. It's not giving him an advantage. That car does not look very safe, but I think there was a little bit of contact between himself and the driver behind him. And, well, that contact in these cars, it's okay up to a point, but, you know, sometimes the crash physics in R-Factor 2 just go a little bit wonky. And I think that's what happened there. It didn't look like a really hard tap, but it was enough to send Woudenberg off into the wall, and unfortunately for him, that's the second time it's happened today.
Yeah. Jimmy Hughes going on the inside of Xavier Poriel, managed to recover, and he's trying to go, and Catsasolo's just gone off the track. There's carnage going everywhere here at the moment. Jimmy Hughes has got past Xavier Poriel up into 11th place, and not too many battles going on at the moment, but we'll have to keep an eye out on this battle with Christian Michel and Skywars. The gap is still pretty much the same of 1.1 to 1.2 seconds, with 9.5 minutes left remaining. 7 Wiedebergers now left. Jonathan Menendez has left as well, so unfortunate for both of them. I think Stefan Wiedeberg's damage on his front of his car was just too much, and it looked like he had severe understeer, especially when he went lawn cutting across the grass. But so far, quite a lot of action here at Poznań, and the drivers are fairly spread out at the moment. The closest battle on track, I believe, is currently Sky Willis and Christian Michel.
It's interesting that Christian hasn't caught up to Sky Willis yet. With the pace he was showing earlier on, and with the way he was closing down on the closing that gap down, maybe he's just decided to bank on his tires and save them, and then go all out later on. And perhaps he's banking on Sky Willis getting more and more tire wear as the race goes on as well.
Yeah, I think that could be the case, or the fact that Sky Willis has preserved the tyre as well, and it's just maintaining a consistent gap between her and Christian Michel. But I'll have to see how this develops later on in the race. But as I said, quite a lot of the drivers are now spread out quite a bit, so not too many battles going on at the moment. But there's been quite a lot of DNF, so we may as well round them out. So Jav Fernandez, Stefan Woudenberg and Jonathan Menendez are all DNFs in these races at the moment. But still, the gap between both of them is still only 1.2 seconds. But Scott was doing a really good job, and in fact increasing the gap between her and Christian Michel. So with 7.5 minutes left remaining here, and the current time on the service 4:51 p.m. So definitely we are in dusk here at Poznań on R-Factor 2. But it's definitely been exciting, and I'm sure Skywars would be delighted to go and take victory here in this race department Clio Cup Championship. We'll have to see if that's possible for her. So Skywars crossing the line to start another lap, and that was her 10th lap of race 2 at the moment. But look at that, Christian Michel has caught up quite a lot, and it's only 8 tenths. So this is a battle that we are going to have to watch right till the end of this race. Definitely one that will be very interesting. And in fact, Sky Willis goes deep into turn 3, and now that's really allowed Christian Michel right behind her. And perhaps Sky Willis struggling with tyre wear, or just having a lapse of concentration and missing her braking point. But 5 tenths is the difference between Michel and Sky Willis at the moment. Again, Willis, I thought she was going deep into turn 6, but apparently she wasn't. Perhaps there was a little bit of lag on my screen, but never mind. Cuts a lot of the apex again, but it is really apparent that Skywars is struggling with tyre wear, struggling to get the car turned in. And perhaps, Xavier, your prediction was right, but what can Christian Michel do going into turns 11, 12 and 13. Perhaps his best opportunity is on the straight, but look at that. Oh, Christian Michel can keep such a tighter line to than what Sky Willis can, and perhaps Willis has took too much tyre life out of her tyres. But now going round the final corner, and they are going to start another lap, but this time Christian Michel is only 3/10 away. Can he gain enough slipstream on Willis and go and take her into turn 1?
I don't know if Sky knows it, but she would, if things ended the way they are now, she would be if I'm correct, which I think I am, she would be the first female driver to win a league race at Race Department. Or an official league race, that is. And I'm not sure if that's something she knows.
But they're going side by side, and Sky Willis has got to keep this position, but Christian Michel was on the outside of him. I don't think she saw him coming, but Christian Michel still behind her, and Sky Willis needs to keep that position in order to achieve watches. But look at that, Christian Michel looking on the inside, but he's just got too deep. But can he get that position done? I don't think he can, but he's now got the inside line. Can Sky Willis take her around the outside? Can she actually do this? I think she can. I believe she has got that position back. Great driving from Sky Willis to go around the outside of Christian Michel. Quite a lot of contact, close racing between both of them. They're so close. And I believe Sky Willis took a lot of the anti-cutters again. And now they're going into turns 11, 12 and then 13. But Sky Willis struggling with tyre, gets a lot of understeer now. That's allowed Christian Michel to go and take first place in this Race Department Clio Cup Championship here at Poznań. But can Sky Willis, has she got any answer to Christian Michel going down in towards turn 1? I think she's just too far behind. But Xavier, here's a question for you. If Sky finished in second place, would she still be the first female driver in Race Department to go and get a podium?
I'm not entirely sure, but I think that will be the case. That she'll be the first female driver in the history of Race Department's leagues. Important that we say leagues. To score a podium position. Otherwise, I think this might be the highest a female has scored in any of the Race Department championships. But don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure, but from my memory, I can't remember there being another female race winner in Race Department leagues.
Well, it'd be a great effort from her if that is the case, on what you're saying is true, but perhaps that needs some research, and perhaps someone in Race Department can find out and see if that is true. But definitely Sky Willis is still right on the back of Christian Michel at the moment. So can she do anything on Christian Michel? That's something that I'm questioning of her at the moment. There's only a 3/10 gap between her and Michel, but look at that understeer. I think she set that car up more for understeer and turning in later, which perhaps is suffering with her tyre wear because she's having to put more steering lock on that car. Perhaps that is the case, and that's why she's not getting into the corners how she would like, and that's why Christian Michel is managing to gain time on her. But I believe we've got Martins in as a back marker, and he will go to the right hand side, and I believe he will let Michel and Willis through. So good effort from him to let them both through, and indeed he does so. Great effort from him to let them both through. And indeed Sky Willis is still right on the back of Christian Michel, and we have 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining, so this will be the second to last lap. And Stephen Andrew,
I'm sorry, but Xavier Porel and Stephen Andrews are having a brilliant battle at the back there. And so are April Dillon and Yuri Kazdorp going into turn 1 now side by side. Dillon on the inside. Oh, ever so close. And Dillon manages to take the position. Wow. Great drive out of that corner. And just behind them, you've got Karatazzolo, who's just been passed by Phil Shillito. And yeah, take it back to the leaders.
Yeah, indeed, and Sky Willis is still right on the back of Christian Michel, but I don't think she can get it done unless Christian Michel makes a mistake, and there are now battles going on in the latter part of this race, and I believe... no, another bug on my timing. It appears when they go through turn 4 and then entering up into turn 5, it shows that the drivers are passing, but indeed that isn't the case, so apologies for that. But look at that, Sky Willis is still right on the back of Christian Michel. Can she do anything on Christian Michel? Can she get a good enough exit out of turn 14 to even try and pass Christian Michel? So this is in fact...
Is this the checkered flag?
I believe it is. So Christian Michel taking victory here at Poznań. A great effort from him. Sky Willis finishing in second place. The horns.
No, I'm not sure if Sky Willis is doing that because she's angry or if that's because she's really, really happy. But it's always funny to see these guys coming across the line and honking their horn. The funniest instance I've seen of that is when someone once got taken out in front of me and they honked the horn. I do quite enjoy that.
Yeah. I do think it's quite funny that the F1 cars do have a horn, which I'm using. But yeah, I think it's more because Sky Willis is delighted because she's flashing the lights, and I assume that she is really delighted, and so she should be. Frederick Schornstein finishes in 3rd, Simon Christman in 4th, James Pascal in 5th, Teddy Bush, great recovery from him to finish in 6th, April Dillon in 7th, Manuel Cartazzolo in 8th place, Jimmy Hughes in 9th place, and Phil Shalito in 10th place. And her teammate says, "Wow, Sky, nice work." So great sportsmanship from her, and a great effort from all the jobs. Quite a few incidents, but definitely it was exciting and a much more interesting race than what race 1 was. So, all the drivers now going to the pits, and but definitely I think it was a fantastic job from Christian Michel to take victory, as well as Sky Willis and Frederick Schornstein and Simon Christman. In fact, all the top 10. They did a great job to achieve a top 10 finish. But definitely there were quite a few incidents. But interesting to see what the drivers' thoughts are in the interview after this race.
And Christian Michel just sharing with Sky how happy he is with that battle. He was exceptionally happy with that, it seems.
Yeah, it's always nice to see drivers being delighted with their finishes and delighted with the battles that are going on track, because it means that we have something to talk about and it's enjoyable for us to commentate on. And also,
I'm not sure what's going on here, but I think Rui Martins is reversing Stephen Andrew into a pit box, and now this is pretty amusing stuff. Not sure what that was about, but okay.
perhaps that needs to be investigated after the race. Hint, hint. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, I'm not too sure what was going on with both of them, but never mind with that. Still a great result for all the drivers to achieve points, apart from obviously the people who D and F'd, which was Menendez, Rudenberg, and João Fernandes, who was unlucky because he went straight up over the cliff. Well, not really cliff, a hill rather, and went into the trees, and that just reset him. He couldn't really do anything about that. But never mind, and we should hopefully have some interviews after the race. Well, since we may as well start the interviews now, since we do have Christian Michel in our little commentary booth here at Poznań. So I think I will begin the questions. So Christian, a great effort from you again to take another victory in the VWSR Clio Cup Championship here at Race Palmer. What are your feelings after that race?
I don't know what to say. The second race was just awesome. It was really hard.
Yeah, well, Sky did definitely give you a great battle. Hopefully she can join the commentary booth and we can get her thoughts. But definitely was exciting for me and Xavier to commentate on it. It was a pretty exciting race. How were your tyres after chasing down Skywars?
My tires were like 50% front left, so nearly completely gone. And yeah, I had to overdrive the car in every corner to even catch her. But I think she was doing the same. So it was the same for both of us. Yes.
Well, it was a great effort from you to keep your car on the road and to have a great race and to take another victory here at Poznań. And I'm just wondering, how much do you like Poznań, and are there favourite tracks that you've still got left in the calendar, or was Croft one of your favourites?
Poznań was one of my favorites, but at Hockenheim, I like Hockenheim. But I think Manicourt will be good too for me. Yeah, but the others are normal tracks.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you'll do well in them. And Xavier, do you have questions for Christian Michel?
Sure. How did you manage to get the pace out of this car to get a 0.6 advantage in practice over anyone else? That was immense.
I was a bit surprised about it as well. I mean, I chatted a bit during the week with Simon, and yeah, I thought we were on the same pace, but then I tried the lap, and there was a lot of grip on to compare to when I practiced. So yeah, that was it. I mean, I don't know. My setup was good, so I didn't practice that much for it, to be honest. But it worked out pretty well.
And there you have it. Reigning champions don't need much practice to come and dominate 2 races.
True.
Well, I think if that's all the questions for Christian Michel, I just want to say great effort from you to win another race, and hopefully Mid-Ohio goes well for you, which will be round 3 of this VWSR Clio Cup Championship. And now we have Frederick Schornstein. So Frederick, another great race from you. Perhaps you're a little bit disappointed to not win the race, but still, 3rd place is still a great effort from you.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm happy that I was here today. Last week I thought I wasn't able to make this race, so first of all, I'm happy that I could even compete. And as I said last week, I don't really like the track, so my practice was really limited. Maybe, I don't know, half an hour or something like that, maybe 3/4 of an hour, and then before the race, of course. But I mean, quali went much better than I could expect from my practice, so that was nice. Race 1, yeah, I would have liked to get the jump on Simon at the start, because I knew that on race pace I should be quicker than him, so I would have liked to try to give Christian a run in race 1, but yeah, we had a great fight with Simon. He was pretty tough to overtake, but I did it in the end. He did a little mistake when I had the inside for turn 1, and I mean, the second race was a bit unfortunate. I had contact with Manuel. I talked to him. I mean, it was 50-50. He wasn't defending into the hairpin, so I thought, okay, he lets me pass, and he turned in. For the next corner, I had the inside. I thought, okay, now he's giving me room, because I caught up so much quicker, and then we had a slight contact, which gave Christian at that point P2, which was really annoying to me, because I knew on pure pace I was not as quick as him today. So anyway, I hoped Sky would drop off at the end, and then I maybe can pick up the pace a bit and then catch up. I managed to get the gap down to 3 seconds at one point, but I mean, they were both quicker than me in race 2. There was no chance for me to win that race. I mean, the best I could have done in race 2 was probably P2, but then I would have needed defended for 15 minutes against Christian, and I think I would have slipped. So anyway, it was the best I could do today, and I hope it will get better in the next races.
Yeah, well, it was still a great result, and it was a good overtake from you. And I asked Christian this. I'm going to ask you the same. What was your tyre wear like?
I think my tyre wear was a bit better than Christian's. To be fair, I had 56% at the end of race 2, and I think something like 72% in the first race. In the first race, I really had to push behind Simon. It was a bit more tire wear than I expected, but I mean, in race 2, maybe I should have pushed more at some point. But I mean, as I said, this track is not really my favorite. I wasn't consistent. My lap times were a bit up and down at some point, and then I realized, okay, I'm faster than Simon. There's no way I could catch or overtake Christian and Sky, so I just kept it calm, kept it out of the wall, and drove it home.
Yeah, but it was still a great result. And I just want to ask, what do you think your kind of driver preference is in the tracks, what we have in the calendar so far?
I think Croft was definitely my favorite track, so I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't win there, because I really like the flow of the track, and I mean, I think in both races I was on pace with Christian, maybe a bit faster in one of the 2 races. But yeah, I mean, Hockenheim, I know the normal Hockenheim tracks. That's fine for me. Let's see how the short layout is working out. And I like Mid-Ohio, and I was very good there in the past, but I think in the last year I did a few races there and I struggled a bit. So we will see, because it's a very technical middle sector, and Christian is very good in technical corners with these cars, and I'm a bit better in flowing corners with these cars. So we will see. But I'm much more motivated to practice for Mid-Ohio.
Yeah. Well, still, it was a good result for you. And just one more final question from me. What is your driving style? Are you more aggressive, or are you more calm and collected, or something different entirely?
Usually I'm calm and collected in race 2. I wasn't really after the incident I had, but usually I'm relatively calm behind the wheel, and you have to be that in these front-wheel drive cars. I mean, I drove a Honda Championship, and as soon as you really start to push the car, it's very easy to overheated tires, and then you're losing all the grip you have. So you must be relatively calm, not as calm as in the Honda cars, but really know where to place your car and not push to the absolute limit you would like. So it's a bit different compared to rear-wheel drive cars, because at some point I started to really push and then I went a bit slower. So you have to find the line to push hard but not too hard. So, but in general, I'm relatively calm. I mean, that are short races, so it's not really exhausting or something like that. If you drive 3 or 4 hours, it's much more difficult.
Yeah, I'd imagine, and thank you for talking us with Frederick. Hopefully Mid-Ohio and the rest of the season goes with you and you can get a win, because that'd be nice to see if you could do that. And finally, we will move to Simon Christman. Simon Crossman even. So another good race for MC Racing and yourself. 4th place is a good achievement for you in race 2. How would you assess how your overall race went here at Poznań?
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed because I made in both races one small mistake. In the first one, it costed me the 2nd place, where Frederick slipped through, and also Teddy, which I couldn't catch or couldn't overtake at the end. I only could catch him. And then at the start of race 2, where I followed Steven Andrew in the last corner, and he made the mistake and I made the follow him game. And then Christian, Frederick, and James slipped through, and I was only able to catch James again. And then I pushed a bit too hard, and I could only keep the gap to Frederick.
Who do you think is your biggest competitor? Is it your teammate or is it someone else in the field?
I would say Christian and then Freddy. And I think the rest already have some gaps to us, so it will be hard for them.
Yeah, well, it was a great effort from you, and I think one final question for me, unless anyone wants to ask you a question. I've asked all the drivers this, and I just find it really interesting, but what was your tyre wear after 25 minutes of fairly hard and quite notorious racing?
That has been a bit worse than the others. I had been at 40%, but I pushed the whole race, which was a mistake. But it was still drivable at the end, so it was okay.
Yeah, and perhaps in our factory it's best to just try and be calmer and be less aggressive in attack in the latter part of the race. But that's sort of my preference, especially with our factory too. But Zabi, have you got any? No, indeed he doesn't. Okay, so thank you everyone for doing the interview with us, and unfortunately we can have Sky with us. I believe she hasn't got a microphone, but great effort from her and great effort from all you drivers and the rest of the grid. But thank you everyone for watching. A lot would be appreciated on the broadcast, and hopefully everyone enjoyed the broadcast. And from me and Xavier, hope you have a good evening, and we'll see you at Mid-Ohio next week on Friday at exactly the same time. So thank you everyone watching, and we'll see you for round 3 at Mid-Ohio for the VWSR Clio Cup Championship.